on my Area 51 line. You're on the air. Hello.
Welcome to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, where what you've known as reality will be shattered by the truth. Krista and Brandy will lift the veil from your eyes, revealing what has either been hidden or denied you for eons.
Hey, happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm just like, oh, it's Friday. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Oh, it's been a long week.
I was about to say the exact same thing. It's been a long week.
I know. It's been a long week. And, you know, I have talked about this a couple weeks earlier about how bad it was. I mean, with just people and their, their attitudes and things like that, and how crazy it's been.
Yeah.
This week was hard, but yet it felt better. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. It felt better. It was harder, but felt better. And I think somebody was talking about Mercury retrograde and how we're coming out of that. And you definitely, once you start reading into that, you really can tell the difference. You wouldn't think so, but you can. So everything's gonna
Is
be
Mercury
better.
retrograding? Really? Is that?
Yeah, we're coming out of it. Yes, we're coming out of it. So I'm hoping by next week we should be fully done and everybody should be at least on an even keel when it comes to mood. I'm hoping. You know, of course you're gonna always have that stray, but for the majority, we're gonna be all right.
How many times a year does Mercury retrograde? I'm curious now.
It's a couple times a year. And it's rough. It just depends on when it falls. Are you looking it up right now?
3 or 4 times a year, depending on the year.
3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Gosh, I thought it was just one long one. I know, I'm just kidding. I thought it was just 2 long ones, but evidently it's 3 to 4 times a year. It's pretty tough, and it does affect people's moods, and they don't realize, or if you don't follow that stuff or believe in that stuff, But that brings us all around to what we're going to chat about tonight. So, as you can see, that Krista is not here tonight. She has a thing with her daughter, so it's a family event they're doing this evening, and so she is not going to be available. She was, and then she figured out she wasn't, and I thought I wasn't, but now I am. So here we are doing a show, and Donnie is stepping in, and he is going to be talking about the woo. And I think a lot of people think that the Mercury retrograde and all of that kind of stuff is also woo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, astrology people, yeah.
Yeah, they think it's all woo, and I don't believe it because I notice it. I guess if you start looking for it, then you'll start really seeing it, and it's kind of crazy.
Oh, guess who showed up?
Well, hey, Randy, you can come on and talk the woo. We can.
Well,
he'd be so angry during the show.
Okay. Can I give the people a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, Brandy?
Yes.
Okay, so this morning you were like to the group, because we have a group chat to the Island of Misfit Toys.
Yes.
And you sent out the bat. You put up the bat signal. You were like, guys, I need a partner tonight.
Right.
Paul, I don't know what Paul said, but Randy was like, oh, I can't make it. Nah. And Tex was like, I got to work. Sorry. And I'm like, geez, no one's okay, I'll do it then. I mean, I'm not going to leave my homegirl there hanging like that. Because I thought Randy couldn't make it. But there's Randy hanging out in the chat being like, oh, come on, Randy.
I know, right? He couldn't come on, but he's here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's here.
He's probably eating a big bowl of ice cream right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
With smothered in root beer.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's how he rolls.
does sound good though.
Oh no, he's watching wrestling right now. That's what he's doing. He's watching wrestling and this at the same time. I know how he does it.
I know.
The man loves his wrestling.
He does. He does. You know, I have never been a big wrestling fan. So, I mean, I guess I just don't understand it that much. I mean, I wasn't a soap opera person either, but I think they're kind of like one and the same, except one involves some violence.
Yeah. It does.
You know, I got to watching like documentaries about like China and her whole scene and her downfall and
yeah.
And I mean, and then there were others that were going through this downfall, and I'm like, dang, they're on they're on TV like that, and then they turn around and their personal lives are just as bad, and I'm thinking, no, thank you.
That's real sad.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm just sad. I'm sad that they go through that. Do you think it's because of some of them use medication, should we say? We'll just call it that they shouldn't?
Definitely got a lot to do with that.
I would think so.
Actually, one of the underlying themes, I have a few themes on my show. Donny Cho says stuff. And one of the themes that I like to play with a lot in some of my episodes is making the comparison between pro wrestling and the paranormal and K-pop. Because Jason pointed it out to me, because he was like, I'm noticing something about you, Donny. I'm like, what? He's like, I get why you like the paranormal. It's the same reason why you like wrestling and K-pop. It's the same idea. You like things that kind of play with people's perceptions of reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Paranormal's a lot like that, right? Because harking back to our original topic, the woo, right?
Yes.
There's so many that's one of the things I love about this community and about this scene is that there are different levels of woo that people are willing to like live in that space.
Yes.
They occupy that space, right? Because we know so many people, right? Like cryptid researchers who are very much into cryptids. They go into the research, they go out into the field, but they're just like apers almost, right? They're just like flesh and blood.
Right.
They take the topic very seriously, right? They devote themselves to it, but they're not that woo. They're not off on the deep end, right? But then you got other people who are all about like extra dimensional stuff and mind speak stuff and portals, right? And shapeshifters, right?
Right.
It's kind of like that with wrestling and K-pop. It's like people who are into it, each person, depending on their own comfort level, are into it to a certain level, right? You can find, I mean, that's true in a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, I don't know like what you're into outside the paranormal, but some people, for example, right? Like one of my best friends, his whole life, he's really into food.
Oh,
okay, but he spent his whole life working in restaurants. He's owned restaurants. He knows like famous chefs. He watches all the cooking shows. When we put like the food channel on or we watch Top Chef, this guy's talking all this smack like, oh, that chef is overrated, right? But it's for me, I'm just a guy. Yeah, I like food. You like food, but I'm not keeping up with all the gossip about all the top chefs and, oh, this chef opened up this restaurant where? And you know what I mean? And I think the paranormal is kind of like that. So with wrestling and so with a lot of stuff. Oh, there's Rob.
There's Rob. See, look at there.
See, they don't volunteer. They just hang out in the chats.
They just hang out in the chat. Which hey, it is their night off. I mean, hey, it is. Yeah. I can understand that. But, the whole going back to the wrestling thing, I come from a generation where Hulk Hogan, rest in peace, was the man. And then Macho Man Randy Savage and, Ric Flair and all of that. You would see him on TV. They would do commercials. They would do all kinds of stuff. and they were kind of like almost like role models, almost, where all the little kids were
They were
looking up to them.
characters.
Yes.
They were characters.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Just
it's hard to
more-
maintain that sometimes.
It is.
And
It
some people
is.
can't handle it.
Right?
It's a lot like the paranormal, right? Because you and I know so many people in this field now where a lot of times, let's face it, people who are known in this field, they're maintaining a character.
Yeah. You're right.
Because you and I, we're not a paranormal cryptid stuff 24/7. We got lives outside of this. And everyone does. But some people, they go out there in front of the conference and the documentaries on these podcasts. They
Yes.
put on their little get up and they become, oh, I'm that Bigfoot guy, right? They're
Yes.
that Professor Bigfoot dude, the
Right.
character.
Right. Well, as much as we're on and we
Yeah.
stream, it would be impossible
Mhm.
to keep up that type of character. It would be
Yeah.
literally impossible. I mean, because I'm on 6 days a week. So when you're on 6 days a week, it's hard. Yeah, I'd
Mhm.
rather just be myself, and you like it or you don't. I mean, it's fine, but in the world of the paranormal and the cryptid,
Mhm.
you gotta kind of do that yourself too.
Some people are, I mean, some people are themselves for the large and large. Like you and Krista,
Mhm.
you are yourselves. Like
Yeah.
who you see is who you get, right? Because
Yeah.
I've met you in person a few times now. You're
Mhm.
exactly the same. You're
Yeah.
no different.
Right?
Krista's exactly the same. She's no different. Like most of us are exactly the same.
Mhm.
Is Tex exactly the same?
Yeah. Yeah. The way he is on the show and when he's out in the field, exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got no outside, guys. Okay, I'm gonna divulge a little secret about Tex. He may or may not want me telling about him. He's got a bit of a potty mouth outside of the podcast world, guys. A bit of a potty mouth.
A hair.
Yeah, a
Just
little
a
bit.
hair.
I'm the
Just-
opposite. I will admit I do play a character because you know how on my show I have a real potty mouth.
Yes.
But in real life I actually don't. You know this. I actually don't.
No, you don't.
No.
We have normal conversations, you and I,
Yeah.
and I mean, a word will pop out,
Yeah.
but it is not excessive. It is not.
Yeah. On my show I'm excessive, but again I'm playing a character. That's very much by design. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because you can recreate yourself on your show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah.
You absolutely can, and that is fun.
Mhm.
I mean, that is absolutely fun.
There's
I
some
just love-
dudes that I've met though, Brandy, and I'm sure you've met them too. They come on they come on as like on shows and they are so playing a character.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to like really wooey topics.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yes.
Oh man. No judgment, by the way. I mean, you do you, right? No judgment. But it reminds me of pro wrestling sometimes. It really does.
Oh my gosh. When I met Turtle Man, okay, right? So that man is exactly the same as he is on TV.
Mm.
Crazy as all get out. Same thing. And he has
Same
not
thing.
changed through the years. No. No, absolutely not. And I guess because he has an outlandish behavior,
Yeah.
it's like he draws people in, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
how can you keep that on 24/7? Are you never sad? I
Right.
mean, is there never an off button where you just shut down? Evidently not.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. But like I said, people in the paranormal and cryptid world, there are some that do play roles, and some that I've met that can't keep up in that role. It's like they are totally different, and they're maybe not as a nice of person as you would think.
Exactly like wrestling.
Exactly.
Exactly like wrestling.
Yep. So I'm just I mean we could all call it like there is drama everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's a soap opera somewhere. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be in the paranormal and cryptic community too.
Yeah. Well, paranormal and cryptic community, the thing that's different about it is that obviously pro wrestling is predetermined. You could use the word fake, right? Whereas with the
A script.
paranormal, you're always on that line
Yeah.
because you're dealing with things that very potentially could be real,
Mm-hmm.
but we never really have evidence of, but we talk about it and we talk to witnesses who
Right.
we're pretty certain have very real experiences. But again, no one's coming out with an actual Bigfoot, putting them, So
Yeah.
we're in this weird in between place that until disclosure happens, we'll always kind of be kind of skirting that line. That's what
Yeah.
makes it fun.
I mean, do you think that we're gonna hit some type of disclosure on cryptids in our lifetime? Or do you think it's just gonna be something that's just gonna continue on forever, for decades and decades and decades?
There will always be something to speculate about. I think if we got the information, okay, let's say hypothetically the information dump happens, right? Someone or something comes out and it gives you the whole truth, 100% of the truth about everything.
Mhm.
One, like, how would people even handle that? And two, is that something that's even desirable?
Well, okay, so here let's take that back a notch with
Mhm.
aliens. Have this whole incident. Roswell is the thing that kind of topped the charts with the whole alien thing. And then people got so used to having aliens brought up all the time, whether it'd be a serious conversation or joking, it's always been a thing.
Right.
And when they did that disclosure on aliens, everybody's like, yeah, okay. It was like big deal.
Right.
Tell us something we don't know. I mean, they came out, they said aliens were real, great, that's awesome, but they didn't go in depth about how real it is. I mean, is Roswell even real? Or was a decoy? Or, what was the problem here? I mean, was there a crash? I'm gonna say yes. But did they keep him in Roswell? Or did they move him to like Wright Patterson or wherever they chose to move him or something? That's what I always wondered. They haven't released any type of information that we didn't already know as a community. We already knew these things. They didn't tell us anything different. I mean, you've given me more information about aliens than I heard the powers that be give. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, we're talking about Maximum Wu, like the Law of One and all that, where it talks about
Yes.
like exactly which planets and how many different races.
Yes.
Yeah, the answers are available. I'm not saying they're the right answers, but if you want answers, they're there, right?
I mean, if you want to open your mind, is what we're saying. Open your mind to, the possibilities. I always believe that when they have one of these theories, that there is an itty bitty piece of truth in everything. Even if it's a complete lie, there is just a little bit that's truth. And because they have to really have something to go off of.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. That whole thing that we talked about that one time was very interesting. Because if you hear people and they're talking about these UAPs, UFOs, whatever, but they're talking about these things, but sometimes they're describing different types of craft. They're not all the same. Like somebody's technology may be different than another.
You got the triangle ones, you got the tic tac ones, you got the spheres, the saucers, you got all different types, all different maneuverabilities and lights and shapes. And are they all the same race, or are they all just different races?
I mean, I don't know. See, I mean, could it be like the human population? I mean, we all drive cars. They're just different makes and models.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, why does one alien race have to be stuck with one design of a spaceship, right? I mean, look at our military.
Exactly.
We have all sorts of different shapes and sizes of vehicles, and we're one species,
Right.
right?
Right. Well, and for the most part, all the airplanes are the same.
Yeah, because they
I mean,
operate under the same principles, right? 'Cause-
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Helicopters, same thing. The only one that doesn't do that, well, on my little bit of knowledge that I have, is the stealth, and that's the only
Yeah.
one that
Yeah.
the aircraft that moves differently and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, if you look up, you can identify a plane and say, "Hey, there's a plane."
There's a plane. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a plane. But UFOs, I mean, for me, it just seems like there might be a different type of technology running through all of these different shapes and things that they're finding, because some
Yeah.
are moving. People are describing them moving differently
Yeah.
than others.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
It's fun to think about. It's fun to speculate.
It is.
But if you do want to, quote unquote, know, you can just look it up. Go maximum woo.
Maximum woo.
Get the answers.
Yep.
Right? Like, I know, in bunny ears, that the triangle UFOs, those are reptilians.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
They're different
Yeah.
from the
and
ones.
I mean, the only thing that bothers me about the whole alien thing is I don't think they're all from other planets. I think that there are some that are here.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, because I always talk about that they're in the ocean and that they're in these trenches and everything that we have not, that we cannot get to or investigate. And I think but what we don't hear a lot about is lights and things underwater.
Right.
Is that because it's so far out there? Is it not in a travel path where like boats or anything would travel through, cargo ships, or is it just out of the way that people just don't? I mean,
Yeah,
nobody.
maybe it's because they don't get bothered by humans. They want to keep a low profile. Yeah.
That's true too. I mean, but people have reported seeing, lights in the sky when they've been on cruise ships and just other types of things out there, and it just makes you wonder. It's the woo, people. It's the woo.
I like to put it like this. Like, okay, so when people do see the lights in the sky, right, Brandy?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, or my guess is that it's because whoever's flying that craft, assuming that there is something or someone flying that craft, pretty much doesn't care if it's seen. Doesn't care. Because if they really cared to not be seen, they won't be seen.
Right.
Now, let me give you an analogy, right? We are so much more advanced and more intelligent than ants. So let's say there was an anthill in your backyard and you wanted to do whatever you wanted to with the anthill, but you wanted to make sure that none of the ants knew that you were there. Could you pull that off? Very easily.
Yeah.
Very easily, right? Who's to say the aliens, if they're so much more advanced than us, that they could do all the stuff that they can do? If they really didn't want to be seen by us, we won't see them.
Yeah. Because honestly, when we talk about cloaking and all of that good stuff, if something could do it, I believe aliens can.
Yeah. Or they wouldn't even need to go that far. They'd probably just be like, screw it. I'll just go in the ocean. These people are bothering me now. I'm tired of them looking at me. Let's just go down to the ocean. Right?
Right. Exactly. And that always bothered me about, okay, so I'm going to bring it back to a comic book here. Wonder Woman in her invisible plane.
Right.
You remember that the
I
invisible
remember
plane
that.
with Wonder
Yeah.
Woman, and how she would never disappear in the plane. She would be just
That was
like
pretty
riding.
goofy. Yep.
Yeah, like she
Pretty
would just be
goofy.
riding, and there'd be no plane. You couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, we need to talk about that, because if she was inside the plane, which had cloaking abilities, would you not be able to see her? No, you shouldn't, because she's
Right.
inside the craft.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What if she had like a cup of coffee and she kind of set it down on next to the console? Would that coffee be visible?
According to what the comic book was, yes.
Yeah. I think in the second Wonder Woman movie, which had Pedro Pascal,
Mhm.
I think that one, it was just all invisible, which made more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
If you saw that movie, it sucked. If you didn't watch it, don't watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still watching.
Yeah, don't watch it. It was bad.
Oh my goodness. But I mean, you do like the woo. I mean, we've
Mhm.
talked about it many times about many different subjects. What is besides aliens, what is the
Mhm.
most woo thing that you yourself believe in? What is that? I mean, what do you think?
Probably reincarnation. Because
Okay.
I don't consider myself a Christian, so I'm not like bound by the whole notion of heaven and hell and perhaps
Right.
purgatory. I mean, I won't fully identify as a Buddhist either, but I like the idea of reincarnation. I've had my own personal experiences that I think can harken to reincarnation. But the implication of reincarnation, if you think about it deeply, and then I read like the Edgar Casey version of it, which is
Mhm.
very woo.
Mhm.
Very, very woo. Right? That okay, for example, the Edgar Casey version of reincarnation forces you to rethink what a human soul actually is.
Mhm.
And if you got to rethink what a human soul actually is, then that makes you have to rethink what ghosts are. Okay? Because most people, when they think of ghosts, what do they think? They think it's someone that died and their soul, their immortal soul or their spirit or whatever, lingered on the earth, right? And that's what's haunting the location, right?
Right.
That's the idea. That's what the general population thinks is what a ghost is. Now, let's take it to the Edgar Casey model of reincarnation, right?
Mhm.
In the Edgar Casey model of reincarnation, the thing that's inside you that leaves your body after you die is not your soul. That is your consciousness. That's a different thing. Okay?
Mhm.
So that's like maybe one aspect of your soul. All right. Now, you know the idea of reincarnation, that, you've had all these lives and these other periods in history, that you were maybe someone in whatever century. And maybe there's like, I don't know, let's say for hypothetical purposes, there's like 5 different versions of you throughout history. Right.
Mhm.
Each of those 5 different versions is not like when that one version dies, the soul then goes into the future and then is born then. No. For each version, that is their consciousness, and that is what potentially lingers around to become a ghost. What the soul actually is, then, it's the combination of all of those 5 consciousnesses.
Mhm.
The collection of all the memories, experiences, thoughts, and emotions, all balled up into one super being. So that's the thing that it's very hard for people to reconcile, right?
Yeah, that is, well, it's a very deep subject, though. I mean,
Mhm.
if you really
It's
start
very
digging
woo.
into it.
It's very woo.
Yeah.
Which means, if you think about the implications, theoretically, it is possible to meet your own ghost. Think about it. Let's say there was a person 200 years ago that was like a previous incarnation of Brandy. All right?
Mhm.
Maybe that person died, maybe early 1800s at a location, and now 2025 Brandy goes to investigate that location, encounters some paranormal activity. You're experiencing your own ghost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that something that could be possible in that scenario?
I mean, knowingly,
Mhm.
I wouldn't think that we could connect the two together.
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't be able to determine, hey, that's the past me or whatever.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to determine that.
Mhm.
Because things change, we grow up differently, we become different people. You know, I do believe though that people are energy,
Right.
and energy doesn't die; it just transforms itself into something else.
Hmm.
So meaning that if you were to pass away, okay, so we all know that the meat sack is gone.
Right.
Okay. That what we call our vessel is the meat
Mhm.
sack and it's gone. But the energy that you produced on this earth with your vibration and your frequency still exists.
Right.
So it just transforms into something else. It doesn't die. It just goes into something else.
Hmm.
And I could that be some of the hauntings that we're coming into is just that residual, like a residual haunting is just a
Mhm.
remnant of somebody's energy. Is
Yeah.
that what we keep seeing in the loop? Is this energy, and
Their
it just keeps
psychic
happening.
consciousness. Yeah.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you very much. But I also have this weird feeling like I believe in old souls and new souls.
Mhm.
Have you ever just talked to a young child and you're like, you've been on this earth before?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like wise beyond their years. It's just
Mhm.
kind of like they do things that have long past been gone.
Right.
It's just they come up with these new things and like, okay, so my oldest daughter, I believe that she's an old soul
Mhm.
because she likes to do all the cooking. That's not the thing though. But she likes to do all the creative stuff, the crocheting,
Mhm.
all the things that we don't really do anymore. We just
Hmm.
don't do them.
Right.
I mean, I can remember my great aunt and all of them. They crochet blankets or they quilt or, they would do all that stuff. But it's kind of like a dying art form.
Mhm.
It really is. It's like a dying art form. But my daughter, she's just like so into it. And
Hmm.
she's like, she feels like she's, she doesn't really fit in.
Hmm.
I get her humor because I love her humor. I love a little dark humor.
Right.
I'm just one of those people. I love dry humor, dark humor. I just love humor. But anyway, I get her, and I haven't experienced people like that for a long time because
Mhm.
that generation is now, finally passing away.
Yep.
You know, and so we're losing that generation that you used to get that vibe from. So when I get around her, I feel that from her like it's an old soul.
Mhm.
Now, my son, he's an absolute new soul, like he's never been on this earth,
Hmm.
because of his humor. He's goofy. It's just kind of like a new
Mhm.
age kind of, thing that he does. And it's like they're totally two different people, but it just seems like the souls are way different. Like
Yeah.
one has been here before and knows how to navigate. And then the other one's kind of like, this is fun, trying everything out for the first time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, it's really hard to explain. On such a short show
Mhm.
about how I feel all about that. But I guess that would be a form of reincarnation. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's like recycling a soul.
Well, one of the things that Edgar Casey mentions was that a lot of times people incarnate into similar groups.
Yes.
So you're having similar family members, friends around you throughout the ages, right?
Hmm.
So your daughter now could have been in a previous life your mother, and you could have been her daughter,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
So, what do you think about some of these people who are born and then they are having memories of stuff that they never ever experienced in their lifetime, like as if it were someone else. What do you think about
I'm
that?
definitely open to the idea that there are other incarnations bleeding over into each other.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the most famous cases, I think her name, I think her name was Dorothy Eady, and I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but Edie was, I think, her last name. Anyway, but she was having memories and dreams and recalling all kinds of stuff from what we would call ancient Egypt.
Right.
And she was going, even throughout her lifetime, she was having these memories.
I've had stuff like that happen to me before.
Yeah, recalling a memory that you know darn well is not your own. That
I know for a fact that's not my own.
Yeah.
I mean, more than a memory. I mean, okay, I'll tell one story.
Okay.
I was actually saving this for a future podcast on my episode where I was going to talk about reincarnation, but I'll tell it now because you're special like that.
Thank you.
All right. This was, I want to say 2017 or 2018, around there. I was on a family vacation. It was me and my parents and my brother, and we were visiting Hawaii. And my brother was paying for everything because he's rich as hell. I love having a millionaire brother. Anyway, so we're at this really nice resort, right? But here's the problem. I had like real bad eczema at the time, all over my body, right? So I couldn't go into the salt water because it would mess up my skin. And I was real bummed out about that, Brandy. I couldn't, I really wanted to go into water. It was a real nice beach, real great weather, Hawaii. Right. So in this resort, they had like this one, like outcrop into the water. And it was like the designated yoga area, like a meditation spot. Right. And I've done yoga before. I've done Zen Buddhism. Right. So I know how to meditate. So I was like, well, I got nothing else to do. I'll go there and meditate. Right.
Right.
And here's the thing. Prior to that, I had gotten a book from my friend about astral projection, how to astral project. And I was reading it on the airplane and I wanted to try it out. And I remember some of the things that it taught you to do. Like you got to get into that, that delta wave pattern when you meditate, when you got to breathe, you got to get into that zone. I don't know how much experience you have with meditation, but eventually when you do it right, you get into that frequency, that those alpha patterns or whatever they're called, right? And then once you're there, if you close your eyes real hard enough, you start seeing like pinpoints of light, right? Like pins and needles in your eyes. If you do it hard enough. They said that the way to astral project, I remember reading this in the book, is that when your eyes are closed, you want to focus your eyes behind your eyelids as if you're looking about 3 feet ahead of you. Don't just relax your eyes, because when you relax your eyes, they kind of roll up when you're meditating. You want to still point your eyes forward, even though your eyes are closed, about 3 feet ahead of you, like at an imaginary spot. And in the pin pricks of light, those little pins and needles, as you're entering those brainwave patterns, you're going to see a black hole in the middle. And what you want to do is you want to kind of push yourself through that little black hole, kind of push your consciousness through it. And once you make it out to the other side, bam, you are astral projecting.
Really?
And I wanted to try that out. All right. So I'm doing this, right? I'm trying to practice what I read on the flight. This book about astral projection. And I'm doing it. And then bam. Just like that. It was as if someone just beamed like a video, like a 2-second video clip into my brain. It was of a first person perspective, crystal clear. It was like HD. In my first person point of view, looking down at my feet, and there's sandals, like leather bound sandals, walking on it looked like a cobblestone road. The environment, it was almost desert like. It wasn't like a bare desert like the Sahara. Like there were rocks and like shrubbery, but largely like very dry and arid place on this road. looking down at my feet, and then I'm slowly looking up at what's ahead of me, and what's ahead of me is a ziggurat. It's like an old Babylonian style, like building, like temple. Kind of like the Mayan step pyramids,
Yes.
but not in the jungle. It was in the desert.
Desert.
Yeah. And I'm walking along this road that's leading up to it. I'm looking down my feet, and then it's literally like not even 2 seconds. It's just looking down my feet, looking up at this building. Bam, it's gone. And as soon as it's gone, I jump out of my seat. I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm looking around. It almost felt as if someone literally, like, with a remote control, zapped that video clip into my brain.
That's kind of odd.
Kind of odd, right? Until about a year later, I'm at I'm doing a psychic reading, and this old Romanian lady, because I like to get a psychic reading about once a year. It's kind of like a spiritual report card. That's how I like to see it. And I see, like, she's got this little thing about, like, past life regressions, right? She does past life readings. So I'm like, oh, what's that about? Let's try that out. And she walks me through the steps, what we got to do. And then she tells me, oh, and in a past life, like about 10,000 years ago, you were like this ancient priest.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I know exactly what I knew exactly what she was talking about.
That's weird that she would be able to pick up on that.
It gets weirder.
Okay.
It gets weirder. Okay. So I jump out of my seat. I'm like, what the hell? Rewinding back to Hawaii, right? When I jumped out of my seat, I got that video clip in my brain, right? I'm looking around like, what the hell was that? So I kind of like, because I don't get video images just zapped into my brain like that. That never happens to me, right? I wasn't sleepy. I wasn't dreaming or anything, I was wide awake. It was like 11 a.m. in Hawaii with like all this perfect clean air, just the ocean around me. There was not even slightly sleepy, right? So I eventually go back to doing it again, right? I go back, enter the same alpha patterns or whatever, same pins and needles, same like black spot in the middle, push my consciousness through, and then bam, it happened again. This time, it was an old black and white photo from like the 1930s or 1940s of like a 3 or 4 year old Asian girl, like a portrait. Like those baby portraits where the babies are like, they have their elbows up on this thing, like on a black table or something, and then it's just a portrait of them. It was like that from like the 1930s of like a little Asian girl about 3 or 4 years old with like a big smile on her face. And it was a photograph this time, and it bam, zapped in my brain for like a split second. And then I popped out and I walked away. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is getting weird now, right? Flash forward to that same reading where she said I was like that priest from 10,000 years ago. The same, she said, like, when she was doing the reading, she was like, this is really weird because I see you once as a priest from like thousands of years ago. And then I see you once in medieval times. That was a whole other thing, which I'll get into some other time. And she said, but the weird thing is, for about 1,000 years, nothing. She was like weirded out. She's like, I've never had a past life reading like this before. And I'm like, why? She's like, usually when people reincarnate, they keep cycling, going through. For you, it's like for 1,000 years, you weren't even on this planet. You were gone. Next time you show up is in the 20th century. You show up, but you were a little girl who died very young. Like at around like 4 or 5 years old of some kind of illness.
What did she explain further about where those 1,000 years went?
She was confused. She was like perplexed. She was like, what the hell? I've never seen any. I've done readings for so many people. I've never seen this before. It's like for 1,000 years, just radio silence.
Would you ever be interested in doing like a past life regression type thing where they for hypnosis to see?
I would try it out.
What you would come up with, because maybe you could find out about those 1,000 years that you were just not available? I mean, did you go to, I don't know, for us, I would say for a Christian, I would say that we went to heaven and we stayed in heaven for 1,000 years before we were recycled and brought back down. I mean, also, I mean, there's they always talk about purgatory. I mean,
I would like to believe that I was like incarnated on another planet, like running around with a bunch of aliens. Although that's probably wishful thinking.
Or maybe you weren't a person.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you could have been maybe an animal? Like that's something that she wasn't picking up on, that you may have were, you know, running through, you know, that type of phase where you'd reincarnated as an animal.
I asked her about that, but she said normally people don't like reincarnate as animals.
Oh man, that just makes me sad.
Yeah.
You know, because I always said, you know, if I have to be reincarnated, I want to come back as, I don't know, a fat cat, you know, with a big house.
What if you reincarnated as like a chicken and then you look up and it's like a KFC like chicken farm and you're like, no,
it's Tyson.
I'm gonna be in Popeyes.
Tyson chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be like, no, thank you. You can take that. No.
No, I mean, I always wondered about that though. I mean, and now now you're just busting my bubble. Like, I mean, because people have always, you know, joked about it, but they're like, I don't want to come back to this earth. Once I go, I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back. I'm like, well, come back as something like a fish or, you know, something that just kind of swims around and eats. It does its thing and then it passes away. It's like it's gone. I mean, that's an easy life. You don't have to think much about it.
Now, here's a real noodle twister, okay? Now, it is often said that from the other side's point of view, the other side of the veil, that time does not really exist. In fact, one of the readings, like they asked Edgar Casey, was like, what does the other side look like from our point of view? Like, if we were to kind of stick our heads on the other side of the veil, what would it look like from our perspective? And he basically, the way he described it was, from what I remember of what I read, it was everything you're seeing here, except time does not exist. But our brains are so based off linear time, it's hard to wrap our brains around it, right? So, for example, if you are the kind of person, he calls it the mind realm, because the whole realm is made from like our minds, right? So if you are the type of person who is stuck in one major traumatic or significant moment, you're living that moment over and over again for eternity, right? If you are a person who's very much a creature of habit and routine, then you're just doing that routine for over and over again.
Sounds like more of a punishment.
It's depends on the individual, their mind, right? And how they choose to perceive reality. Okay, so this reminds me of an old episode of Justice League. I'm sure you haven't seen it, but let me give you a quick summation. It's a really cool episode. It was called For the Man Who Has Everything, right? Okay. Where the premise was that Batman and Wonder Woman go to the Fortress of Solitude for Superman's birthday, right? Because it's his birthday.
Right.
So they go to buy him, they each come with a different present, but then they see that Superman is in a trance because there's this like alien plant that's stuck on him, right? Yeah. It turns out, do you remember this?
Yes.
Okay, so it turns out that alien plant was a secret, like it was presented as a gift by one of his enemies, like on the DL. And it basically gives the victim like it locks their mind in a scenario where they have everything they want. So for Superman, he was stuck in his mind, like in his own personal mental matrix. He was living on Krypton, and he had a wife, he had a family, he had kids, he was married to Lois, he had a farm on Krypton, he had the perfect life. He had all these memories of like raising these babies. It was his whole life, right? And then once they took the alien off, all of that was taken away from him. and he was pissed, right? But the plant then went on Batman, Bruce Wayne, and it was that one moment in the alley where his parents got killed, but instead his father, instead of getting shot by the mugger, grabs the gun and he's just punching the mugger over and over again. And it's like 2 seconds, but it's on loop because that's Batman, that's Bruce Wayne's mind.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right?
I think it's totally crazy. I'm sorry. I think it's totally crazy we're using superheroes as our analogies tonight, but I love it.
But if you think about it with ghosts, okay?
Right.
Or with the paranormal or the other side of the veil, with the way Edgar Casey explained that it's the mind realm. It's basically space, objects, people, but just no time. And the time is whatever you mentally make it up to be. That kind of makes sense when you look at ghosts, for example, right? Because if a ghost is sitting at a haunted location for like 200 years, first question is going to be, why wouldn't it be bored?
Yeah.
Why is it still doing the same routine it was doing 200 years ago? It doesn't realize it's been sitting there for 200. No, because for that ghost, it doesn't matter what the passage of time is.
Right.
It's operating outside of that, right?
Right. I mean, can you imagine if you were in a spirit and you were a big talker?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would notice gaps in people not being there and you're not being able to, express yourself. I could see that.
You have to wait for a paranormal team to show up with an EVP like once, like 150 years later to be like, oh, this is my opportunity to finally say something.
Right.
What are they doing in between in the downtime? Yeah, what are they just sitting around reading a newspaper?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, you say that time has no relevance.
Right. So for them, they don't understand that passage of time, right?
They just know that it's been a while since somebody's been there.
Remember that ghost story that Rob told us where he was in the bar and he was just closing up and then he looks over and he sees that like the four people, they look like they're from the 1920s.
Yes.
And they're drinking like whiskey or whatever, and they look over at Rob and they're like that.
Yeah.
Do you think they were sitting there for like 100 years? Oh, there's Krista.
Oh, Krista.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you I'm checking internet, making sure it's working.
Yep.
It's working.
You're sounding good.
Am I lagging or anything?
No.
No. I mean, your video's not up. I can't. But from your voice, from your audio,
I have
your
bad
audio's
hair,
fine.
so I'm not.
I have bad hair.
Well, that's what hats are for, Krista.
That's why I wear one all the time. Hats.
Yeah.
I know, right? I hear you. So anyway, what are we talking about?
We're talking about woo, reincarnation, the veil, passage of time.
Okay.
And how that that spirits and stuff may not recognize time as when they were alive here on Earth.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll join in with y'all since my internet's working. I didn't know if it would or not. So.
Oh, well, there we go. Oh, awesome. But
everybody saying hi to me.
But I couldn't remember any time where it seemed like I guess where a spirit would be I don't know, saying that there has been a long time or something,
Right.
to that effect or anything during EVPs. It's almost as if they're most of the time, if they're intellectual, it's right here, right now.
Right.
Of course, when we talk about the residual, it's like we're catching that loop.
Yeah, they're in a moment of time, right?
Yeah.
But they're not acting like they've been sitting there for 100 years or 200 years waiting for someone to perceive them.
No.
Yeah.
Even when we've been, like Chris and I have been to locations that have never been investigated, and we may be the first ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There is no there isn't any I guess evidence that would state that they would know that all this time had passed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think a lot of spirits, like they're stuck in their time period. They don't realize, like you
Right.
said, Brandy, the time has passed.
Exactly.
Like our clothes mean nothing to them. I guess maybe to them we look the same. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because if, say, somebody from the mid 1800s and, they got, the whole garb on, well, and then look how we dress. Do you think they notice that kind of stuff?
I don't think so.
That goes back to right before you logged on, Krista. I was mentioning Rob's story. Remember where he talked about how he was at that bar, and then he sees that the apparition of those people drinking the whiskey.
Yep.
Right, and they're just hanging out, right?
Mm-hmm.
From those apparitions' point of view, it was probably just Saturday night for them, just hanging out drinking.
Or, his encounter, it could have possibly even been residual because if I remember correctly, I don't think they really paid attention to him, did they?
I think they kind of like looked at him and just one guy raised a drink. I don't remember. We got to get Rob on to tell that story. Yeah. Incidentally, he happens to be in the chat. So
I know, right?
Yeah, he can just
but it's kind of like, though, I mean, even if it is type of residual and stuff like that, I mean, we do that as people, like something like looks weird and it catches somebody's attention, but we just shrug it off. Yeah. I mean, are we appearing to them like that? It's kind of like, oh, well, that was weird. Anyway, but you know what Joe said, and then just continue on with whatever we were doing. I wonder if we appear to them like we are the ones haunting them.
That makes sense, though. I mean, because, well, you got to think about it. Like, so, ghosts can stay dormant for how many years, and then someone comes in and does, remodels their home. Well, then look, all the activity, so maybe we are the intruders in situations like that. True.
Yeah, because I kind of thought that. I'm just like, we're invading their space, so I guess that we would be like ghosts to them. But when you were talking about Edgar Casey, about what we look like what we would look like on the other side, or what it looks like on the other side, and you said it's pretty much the same, except time is not a thing. Right. Time is not something they run their lives by. This is not what they are about.
It's both simple and hard to wrap your brain around at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Mickey makes a comment. She says, Brandon says when he saw my mom, she was wearing one of her night shirts. Here's the thing, like Mickey, I don't believe that your mom is a ghost. I think she's a spirit, and they're different to me. Spirits, I feel like, are loved ones. They can come and check on us. They can come back and forth. This is just my opinion, my take on it. However, ghosts, they're stuck here. So Mickey says that Brandon saw, her mom. I think she's a spirit, though. I don't think she's stuck here. You know what I mean? It was like she was coming in picking on Brandon.
Yes. Yeah. Because we've had that discussion before about my dad. My dad there for a while was here and here and here. I mean, it was just every time I turn around, there was something.
He's not stuck.
Right. Now, could I say that was my dad? No. But his mannerisms kind of proved to be the same as my dad's personality. It was the same traits that he exhibited when he was alive. So I am just associating that with him. But at first, it was kind of like it was a constant. And then it just kind of, now it's just every now and again. Right. And it's the same thing with my nephew. It was like at first, boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know, after he passed, it was probably 4 months after he passed. And it was just hard and heavy. And I mean, real strong activity. Right. And then after, we came to this conclusion, yes, I believe it's you. Things are, and when you were talking about a psychic medium, Donnie, a psychic medium told me, she said, he just wants you to know that he's okay. That's why he's just being a nuisance to you right now. He's being irritating to you because that's the way he would be in life. He would just like poke me, and just all the time, just to get under your skin, just poke. And so when I finally acknowledged that part, it kind of cleared it out.
I feel like the, our loved ones, I think they help to guide us, like in decisions and things like that, because, like I was really close to my grandma, and still to this day, like sometimes I even feel my grandma, and even like one of my dogs, I'll still feel Diesel around. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, like they can help to guide us and, things like that, our loved ones. So like you said, Brandy, with your nephew, I think, he's crossed over. I think he's just coming back to let like your mom know, that he's okay,
Yeah. Oh, got it. You got a background noise there, Krista. Echo.
There's a bit of an echo.
I don't know how to fix that.
Turn your mic down.
Oh. Thank God for you, Brandy.
Krista, are you using your phone or your computer?
My computer.
Oh.
The same one I always use.
Oh, okay.
So do I need to jump out and then turn it down?
No, you're sounding good now.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah,
I didn't do anything. That's freaking weird.
I don't know. It might be the internet too. Is it a new internet? Is it a new internet period
brand spanking new internet box thing?
Okay, so that can
explain high speed. That's why I was checking it. It's the high speed, and it's everything connected really fast. So
well, you sound great.
Good. Okay.
It might be a setting issue because a lot of times when you get a new internet setup like that, it'll reset some settings. I've had to struggle with that myself, where once you get a new setup going on, you kind of have to go into your settings and mess around to get things back to where they were.
You have to just work the bugs out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That'll be another time, though.
Yeah.
No, but you sound great.
Yeah.
You sound absolutely wonderful.
Good deal.
But I mean, it's just there's so much that we don't know about, on the other side of the veil, and
but
I mean,
too.
Edgar Casey was just I don't know, he had some really great insight on the
I'm not saying we should believe everything he says, but I like the way he explained things. It really makes you think sometimes.
Of the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Mickey. Edgar Casey, though, he was legit in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He was.
He was right on target, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm still tracing the whole Edgar Casey thing, because there is a family connection with Edgar Casey, and I'm still trying to track that.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember you told me about that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to track it down, but it's just not a clear cut.
Right.
It's not a clear cut. I think there was a little bit of hanky-panky going on somewhere, which kind of brought it all in. But even some of his relatives are in my tree.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So yeah, I mean there is a connection. I don't know how strong it is. I don't think it is a super strong bond.
Right.
I mean, you could say like a fifth cousin. You know what I mean? But there is a connection. I just have to find where it connects. But I think there is, like I said, there was a little bit of fun to be had by some happenings, because it's all happening in between Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Yep. It's these three states, and we're just boiling around, because where my family is from, my grandparents is probably 22 miles from Tennessee.
Yeah, see, hey, Brandy, we could be related, because I'm from, my heritage goes back to Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Arkansas.
Well, see, there you go. There you go. But it's just right in this ring. And like I said, there are some of the same relatives, the same names, but like I said, it could be like fifth cousin, twice removed by this person and that person. And I don't know. But
not enough people in this scene talk about Edgar Casey, but I think it's because it's just way too much woo for some people, which is fine. Again,
well, here's the thing, though. A lot of people don't believe in psychic mediums, and I think Edgar Casey, he was legit, man. He predicted, a lot of illnesses and things like that. He was, he did it while he was sleeping.
Right.
Yes. See, because that's the type of thing I don't want to call him a psychic medium. I don't want to call him that. I mean, he leads me more to believe on this side of like Nostradamus or something, making predictions.
Possibly, yeah.
Versus, everything else. It's hard for me, because he was self-proclaimed,
right?
psychic medium, the best
Well,
psychic medium in the world.
he had zero psychic abilities when he was awake and like normal.
Correct.
Right.
Like
Right.
it was all when he was in that sleep state where he doesn't even remember when he wakes up. Right?
Right.
Someone else has to write it or record it for him.
Yeah.
I think he probably falls into a different category of psychic, if anything, than like a psychic medium who actually goes to a location and
Yeah.
investigates and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I think he was pretty amazing because
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, didn't he like help a lot of people with illnesses and, you know,
There were
things
instances,
like that? Yeah.
there were instances where, okay, there's this one famous example where he got a written request for a reading for, I don't remember what the specific illness was, but his response to that request was, go to your local pharmacy, not the one closest to you, but the one on the other side of town, right? And go to. It wasn't like you must have this kind of herb or this kind of thing. He would literally give him directions to the specific building, and he said, go to the second shelf on the right, and then down that aisle on the second to last row, second from the top shelf, you're gonna find a blue bottle at the end. That's what you want. Like those were the kind of answers that he gave.
Yeah.
And very specific.
Very specific. Yeah.
Yep. And then it was true though. That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what's so amazing with him. Everything, you know, that he dreamed in his dream state, you know, came true. So he was an amazing individual.
I remember another example. This woman was having problems with pains with bone pain, and his response to her was to take a couple of rusty nails, boil them in water, and then drink it, and then do that a few times, like every night. And then she got better by doing that. Turns out she had an iron deficiency, and this was from a time before they even understood what an iron deficiency was.
Iron deficiency.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is odd. That is odd. But there are psychics out there that specialize in the medical field. You know, they're not doctors, they're not nurses, they've had no training, but they can say, hey, I see that you're having something going on with your shoulder. You may need to go get that looked at, you know, things like that. And they're spot on.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's just kind of like you have to pay attention sometimes. But then there are, you know, the ones out there that I believe are straight up 100% frauds.
I would agree.
You know,
the Caputo.
there is a lot.
I don't mind calling her out. I think she's a fraud. I've seen a lot of different documentaries where you know, she asks a lot of leading questions. It doesn't show you that on the TV show, but you know, you can't.
No.
Yeah.
She does. She asks for a lot of information up front before she even sees you.
Right.
I did see that part. I read an article about that.
Yep.
And I'm like,
a true, real psychic medium doesn't want to know anything. They want to be blind.
Right.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. What do you think about psychic mediums who, like, you could give them something from your loved one that is maybe have passed, and maybe a locket or, you know, I don't know, a pair of keys or something, and they can touch that? What do you think about that? Do you think that that's real, or is this something they're just playing you? You know what I mean? Are they playing you?
I think it's real, especially if they're good and they know. I don't know if you've seen that kid. He does a lot of Hollywood people, and he touches things of, you know, like past loved ones and stuff, and he nails it. Like, he'll get names and he'll get, you know, what was significant about that item or whatever. So I think some of them are legit, but I think, as within every, you know, field, there are fakes and frauds. So I'm sure there are some out there that do hold these things that, you know, are leading questions. Oh, this was, you know, if you get a little locket, so it looks like your grandma's. So that's the first thing they're going to say, right?
Yeah. Was this your grandma's?
Yeah. A mother figure. Like, okay, well, you got a mother, you got a grandmother, you got an aunt. So that could go, oh yeah, my aunt. Well, then there you go.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, it's very vague.
Correct. That's fake to me. I don't think those are true, legit psychic mediums.
Yeah. There was a psychic medium my mom went to years and years and years ago, and she come home and told me about it. And some of the things that this woman had said, which I can't because they're very personal to put out there on the air, but you couldn't have known.
Right.
Without leading information. You wouldn't have known that.
Right.
And I'm like, well, there you are. Okay. And I've never forgot that. And I know exactly what she was talking about. Sure. And I'm like, absolutely, that's absolute truth. And she goes, that's what I said.
Yeah. Yep.
Even though she never went back to her again. Mm-hmm. Because what it was is it was a ladies' party. And mm-hmm. they had a psychic medium come in and was giving private readings while they were, everyone else was in the other room discussing cookies or whatever they were mm-hmm. discussing. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's kind of like just a crazy way to have a party. But I'm like, okay.
That's common. Yeah, that's common.
Yeah.
Psychic parties, they call them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this was, many decades ago, you guys. I was young.
Right.
I believe I was in middle school.
Yeah. You know what? Unreal estate agent, I like what they say. There are people who help the police find killers, maybe both with people not knowing first and the ones who touch a personal thing of the missing person. I think those people are absolutely wonderful that find missing people or missing pets or, things like that. And, those are good ones, which Randy, you and I know one. We know somebody who Jessica Potter, mermaid medium. She helps the police. Find missing people.
She works cold cases, absolutely.
Yep. Yep. And she goes in blind, so this is how she explained it to Brandy and I, how it works. She's on like a registry type thing. And so, local police stations can pull it out and just pick, like, she's not named, her name's not on there. She's a number. And then remember how she told us this, Brandy, she's a number, and then they will contact her. And then, so they don't even know who they're talking to.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool, and she doesn't know anything about a case either. So it's just, it's legit.
Yeah. They give her some information and
So she's a remote viewer.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah, I would say.
Because it's kind of the idea of remote viewing, right? You want to give them as little information as possible to maintain the integrity of their reading.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. So I think people who do that are very, very amazing. And there's even TV shows out there where, different psychic mediums help the police and stuff, find killers or find missing people and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, when I seen, and I knew what you were talking about, Krista, when you were talking about that guy that touches stuff.
Yep. Tyler, but I don't remember his last name.
And I absolutely find that fascinating. I mean, if I could choose what kind of psychic medium to be, it would be that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I could shut that off a lot easier than some of the others. It's just kind of like you can just shut that off. Put a pair of gloves on. I don't know, but I mean,
but what about like if you touch something that is bad? That that would be my fear. Something
it would be extremely unpleasant. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that would be my fear of doing that. So, doing something like that.
I consider myself a psychic, guys.
Tyler,
I don't know if I've ever shared. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. Do you consider yourself psychics, or do you know what type of psychic you are? Are you of the belief that everyone is a psychic, but just psychic in their own way?
I am. I am, because people like the gut feeling that people get. Everybody gets that gut feeling. Listen to it, pay attention. That's part of it, I believe.
I think everybody has a something. Everybody has a something. Now, whether you tune into that is up to you. And I don't believe that there is exactly one type of thing, because we call them the players.
Right.
And I don't think that people
they say there's like hundreds
one.
Of different types. Like if you wanted to like list out all the different categories, like a remote viewer, a medium, a psychic knower, a clairvoyant, those are all individual types, and there's like hundreds of them.
I didn't know there was hundreds of them. I'm familiar with about 7 of them.
They're I mean, if you're going to type into the ability,
Mhm.
There is probably
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 abilities. Now, how they mismatch is up to somebody else. I mean, you could have a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a lot of that. I mean, the combinations are endless.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think they're always ever evolving.
Yeah.
Right.
And just remember too that so a psychic is not always a medium, but a medium is always
a psychic.
Right.
Yeah. Just like we were discussing that smells are something new for me. This is something that I hadn't experienced, but I'm in the last couple years, I'm starting to pick up on smells that are associated with something that is not normal. So I'm picking up on that. Now, this is I've never had that before.
Right.
So this is something new, but like I said, I think they're always ever evolving. And the more you stretch that out, exercise the ability, the more it can become and morph into something else.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, you know, so the more you use your abilities, the brighter that light on your head gets, you know, and so it you know, you might just be a seer or a knower right now, but then as you continue to use that, you might hear something sometime, you know. So
yeah.
It progresses. It does. The more you use it, the better, you know, that you get.
Right.
I truly believe that.
Yeah. It's just exercising that the abilities.
Yep.
Exercise.
Perfect words, Brandy. Exercising it.
Yeah, because everybody has them.
Can I tell you what my psychic ability is, ladies?
Yes, I know already. We already had this discussion.
My psychic ability is humor. And yes, in my opinion, humor is a psychic ability. Now, here's why.
Okay.
It's the only psychic ability where you can force people to be happy against their will.
I like that. That kind of makes sense.
That's a real power right
ability.
there. Yeah.
I think that's a superpower, though. I don't think it's a psychic ability. I think that's a superpower.
But it requires a degree of instinct and intuition because there's no formula for being funny in the moment.
No.
Right? The moment comes to you and the right thing to say, the right joke, the right tone, that just comes to you. That like falls out of the sky. There's no formula for that, right? Some people try to make a formula for it, but there's not really. True humor, to be able to just improvise 100 like right there on the spot and then just you force people to be happy against their will. To me, in my opinion, it's just a different type of psychic power. It's so different that people don't generally consider it a psychic power because it doesn't fall into the norm of what they expect a psychic power to be. Yeah. But when you think about it, yeah, that's I consider it a psychic power.
Well, Mickey has a really good question. She said, "Does it ever get to any of you? I mean, where the paranormal becomes too much? Does it get to you?" Well, no, because along with exercising and expanding your abilities, you also can learn how to restrain or shut them off.
Bingo. Yep.
So you kind of have to do that. And as soon as you notice that you may not have that switch off, and you're like, "Oh goodness, I forgot," you can go, "Hey," and just switch it off.
Right.
Because we do forget from time to time when to turn it on, when to turn it off. I mean, it does happen, but once you realize what's happening and you have worked with it enough, you're kind of like, okay, let's just take a breath here, step back from it and then proceed, because it's like it will overwhelm you if you don't protect yourself from it.
Absolutely.
I would say I would need to know how she describes too much or how she defines it. Because
where it's a constant bother. I know exactly what she's talking about. It's a constant bother. You can't go anywhere or do anything or touch anything or smell anything because it's all
like that? Okay.
Yes, like it's just all overwhelming, too overpowering. Yep. And that will happen in situations where you may have too many spirits in one area.
Well, it can, yeah. Brandy's
kinda
right.
get
Yeah,
rushed.
you got to build up those defense measures, you know?
Well, and you also need to learn
Yeah.
protection, and
Yeah.
you have to remember that you're the boss,
Yeah.
not the spirit. You are the boss, so you have
Yeah.
to take charge and turn that light bulb off.
Yeah. It's
I
just
think
kind of
Brandy
like,
and I have actually posted on our members only. It's been a couple years ago, but we posted about how to turn all that off and stuff.
yeah. It's kind of like what I do with the people at work is kind of like the whole mantra. When everybody's bum rushing me and they're like, hey, you're just like, whoop.
Yep.
And then I just kind of start pointing to people, okay, your turn, your turn, your turn, your turn, your turn.
Mhm.
And once I fix everything, it's okay. I'm like, okay,
Right.
now we can move on.
Right.
But you will have that from time to time.
Yep. And Michelle is right. You got to set your boundaries. You have to set your intentions, every bit of it. She's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And without that, you will be a hot mess. You will. You'll get anxiety. You'll be depressed. I mean, that's where all the bad stuff comes
Yes,
in.
your Mercury retrograde will be a living hell.
Yep.
Mhm.
Michelle is absolutely correct.
Can I give you guys the Eastern answer to that question? The
Yes,
Eastern
please.
philosophy answer to that question?
Yes.
How
I'm
to
always-
stop yourself from being overwhelmed by the paranormal?
Mhm.
From the Eastern point of view, the answer is twofold. You need good karma and you need strong chi.
Mhm.
There's a difference, but you need both. As long as you have those good karma right,
Be
and you
aware.
have that chi right. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be aware. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because we've heard the stories what happens when you're not 100%, you're not up to par.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened to me. I
Right.
unknowingly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you've got all these other things going on and you're not really paying attention,
Right.
and even when you keep things in the back of your mind, well, some of the times they fall out and
Yeah.
you forget. And it's happened, but it's just kind of like, as soon as you figure out what's happening,
Mhm.
go right back into the mode of, here's my boundary, here's my intention. Not now. I'll deal with you later. Not now.
Right. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I think that's a good rule of thumb, though. But like we said, it's all about exercising the abilities.
Yep. And
You-
the first thing you have to learn to do it is, if you, whatever your belief system is, be it God or, higher power or whatever
Your higher power.
you have to learn to protect yourself first and
Mhm.
foremost, before you even start dabbling, trying to open yourself up to the other side. That is the most important thing you can do.
Like you said, Donnie, your chi.
Yep.
You've got to have that. Whatever you believe in, whatever your intent is. Yeah.
And everybody hears me say this all the time, but you can say the words, same. It's like a prayer. If you can say the words for a prayer. And to me, that's not really praying unless you mean those words you're saying,
Right.
and same thing when you're doing protection exercises, mean those words, mean it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just kind of like when you're praying, let's just say to God.
Okay, let me
Gotta
ask you
protect.
ladies this question then. Let's say if someone's an atheist, but they're interested in the paranormal and they want to investigate, what do they do?
I don't know.
They're not, because
They
so an atheist doesn't believe in heaven or hell. And that's the thing. Like, so the Exorcist house in St. Louis, the guy that lives there now is an atheist. He has no activity happens in that house. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So then you think, okay, well then teams have went in there and they've gotten, actual credible evidence. So, but the guy's an atheist, so nothing happens.
I think that answers my question, Krista. An atheist wouldn't be interested in the paranormal.
Right.
No.
They don't believe in
Right.
heaven or hell. So
No. I mean, there would be no interest.
Nope.
Right.
None.
Mhm.
So I mean, it does make sense. I mean, if you don't believe in that stuff and your intent is no,
Mhm.
well then it's not going to happen. It won't have any power.
we
to
know
do
any
so because
atheist
you're not going to
paranormal?
give that energy.
I mean, I'm not saying atheist like someone who thinks like ghosts are not real or anything. I'm talking about an atheist who doesn't prescribe to any religion, but thinks ghosts are real, but thinks that that's what happens when people die. but not per se like a subscriber to like the Bible or
Are you
any
talking about
particular
somebody who's
religion.
agnostic, maybe? That they
Maybe
don't really know what
agnostic.
to believe
Yeah,
in?
yeah. I mean, that's probably a
Yeah,
better word to use. Yeah.
yeah.
There's plenty of people like that, I guess, in the field. Like, what do
I
they
mean,
do?
because I feel if you're agnostic, that means that you really don't know what to believe in, but you're willing to look into it. You know what I mean? But you're not sure of it.
Right.
Is this kind of like being a Bigfooter? Go on, yeah. You're not sure. You're kind of a skeptic, but
Exactly.
you're going to go out there and look.
Yeah.
Yep. And atheists, they just don't believe in heaven or hell. They just don't believe in any God,
Right.
Any of it.
good or
Any of
bad. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. And like Brandy said, an agnostic. I think that's kind of maybe what you meant, Donnie.
Yeah.
Not knowing whether, this
Not
stuff.
knowing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because the full-on atheists that I've met in this were not so much like in the paranormal side; they were more like UFO side or cryptid stuff. But they were like apers. That would make
That would make sense.
That would make more sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that Bigfoot being part of the Fae. Well, that totally throws all of them people out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That takes them off of that spectrum of thinking that Bigfoot is nothing other than an ape. And I'm sitting here going, well, there's something there.
It's doing something more than a regular ape does. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, show.
That's why you notice some people in the cryptid field, like especially the apers, who are like, yeah, there's a Bigfoot out there. It's an ape. But then you bring up Dogman, they're like, no way that thing is real.
Right. Or that's an alien.
Yeah.
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 There's no such thing.
Because a big ape out in the woods is plausible at least, but a bipedal canine makes no sense, like from the fossil record or biologically.
Sure.
So they're just like, no. We have a good mutual friend who's kind of like that, if I can mention his name. Good old Randy.
Yeah.
Good old Randy.
Good old Randy. He's kind of like that. He'll listen to you all day about Bigfoot, but you bring up Dogman and he's just like, yeah.
Right.
I don't know. There has been, like I said, there's so many stories even throughout history about not necessarily Dogman, because that is a new coined phrase as far as time goes. But I mean, of the werewolves, the hellhounds, they're throughout history that we've talked about these. So why wouldn't they exist?
Right.
From a strictly biological, evolution point of view, because there's no canid or canine animal from prehistoric times that was even starting to walk on two legs. It was never there. Whereas with Bigfoot, you could kind of see it being there. You could kind of see it being an actual animal. Gigantopithecus, gorillas, it's believable. If you're strictly just a science point of view kind of person, that existing is plausible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from a folklore point of view, yeah. I mean, definitely, werewolf and Dogman is definitely plausible from a folklore point of view. But if you're throwing all that out the window and you're just looking at evolution and the fossil record, then Dogman makes zero sense.
Yeah.
That's why there are apers out there who will not listen to you about Dogman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not everybody's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in that camp.
We've heard all the stories. We've heard all the stories. Now, can some of them get exaggerated? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But all these people cannot be wrong. They seen a dog-like entity on two legs.
Right.
All these people can't be wrong. There is, we talked about there is a sliver of truth somewhere in there.
Right.
Now, do I believe that these things are engineered or anything like that? I don't. That's my own personal opinion.
Right.
I think if it's a true cryptid. I don't think these things were created. I think they exist, just like Bigfoot exists. But like I said, I may be wrong. I may be wrong. I just, we don't have enough to know. But I've seen some evidence that certain people have that they won't put out. Just because of all the hoaxing, all the criticisms, all the, this camp, that camp, whatever, that they won't put it out there.
Yeah.
But I've seen it, and it's incredible.
Yep.
Here's a thought I've had recently. Mothman, okay? People will say that Mothman, a lot of people will say it's a spiritual being, right? I mean, based off the stories that we heard and all that stuff that happened, it's a spiritual being, right? Here's my problem with that. If it's a spiritual being, then why does it have wings? Because think about it. If it has wings, that means it adheres to some sort of physics.
We went over this, Chris and I.
Right.
We did a show about it. I mean,
there's been sightings of where the Mothman has come in and helps, but then what was it over in another country, Brandy? What was the cave deal? Remember, or the mine that collapsed and it foretold that?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I think, personally, I mean, I have not come to a conclusion, but I think it's more of a harbinger of death.
Yes.
Than anything.
I think that's what we come to the conclusion.
That's what I think it is.
So you think it's a misidentified cryptid? Like it is a cryptid, but it's not specifically Mothman. It's another kind of cryptid that happens to be able to fly and has wings. Maybe like an angel almost.
To say it's a cryptid because I don't know. Like Brandy said, it's a
spiritual.
It's
spiritual being.
Spiritual. Yeah. So I can't say 100% that I'm on the cryptid side of Mothman.
Yeah, because we're not hearing the reports of finding any evidence of its existence. All we're getting is they've seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like if you see the shadow man. Well, yeah, you've seen it. But do you have any evidence it was in your home next to your bed? Do you have that evidence? No, you don't.
No, you can't.
Right.
Right.
So
I think it's actually impossible to get evidence of those things because of the way our reality is. Because the nature of those things, they don't leave things that would constitute what general people would define as evidence.
Right.
They operate on a different set of rules.
Yeah, that's what
why
I
there's
mean.
no evidence.
That's why I think it's more on the spiritual side of it. Whatever, wherever it falls in that line, but it is definitely on that side. I just think that, it is not a cryptid. I'm not 100% sold on a cryptid, but I do think that the whole Mothman thing is very interesting and that it that it just flies or has wings or whatever, maybe because that's the only way sometimes it could be seen.
Right.
That it's noticed or be seen, with the wings. So I don't know. That's we're still on the fence about it, but we're pretty sure we're going to go on the spiritual side with that one.
Yep.
Whenever I talk to a muggle, that's my word, by the way, for people who don't believe in a paranormal, a muggle. Whenever I talk to a muggle and they're always like, oh, you believe in Bigfoot and ghosts? Okay, so where's the evidence? There's no evidence. My counter to that is always, give me your definition of evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's perfect.
Because people don't give a clear definition of it, so they just throw that at you to kind of discredit what you're into. But
and it's okay. It's okay. We have these shows so we can talk about these things that interest us. Our experiences, other people's experiences. Maybe somebody who has insight into something that we know nothing about. That's why we do this, because we are inquisitive. Right. We want to know about other things that are not the normal.
Right.
That's all I can say. We're not normies. Okay. We're not
muggles.
We're not muggles. We live with Harry Potter, dang it.
Yeah. We're all up here in Hogwarts, baby.
We're in the Hogwarts.
Yep.
But, well, guys, it has been a great hour and a half. Krista,
Mhm.
thank goodness you showed back up and came on. That was nice.
Yeah.
We were glad you came back. I was telling Donnie about that you had a thing with your daughter and that you couldn't make it. And I said I was supposed to have a thing with my daughter, and then that changed. And I was like, well, we're still here. We had a good night, and we're glad that everybody came. Join us tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Central for Donny Cho Says Stuff. Randy and myself are going to be on that show tomorrow night, and we're going to be talking something interesting there. So make sure you catch that.
We're going to be talking some conspiracy stuff, guys. You're not going to want to miss it.
Cool.
Yes. And then tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Central, it is Into the Bazaar with BMR. So don't miss out on that. And
Paranormal Paul at 7.
Is Paul on Saturday? Also, see, I don't know about. Is he switching back and forth between Saturday and Tuesday? What's going on with him?
He's doing both days.
Oh, he's doing both days. Okay.
So I got to remember him on Saturdays. I'm associating with him on Tuesdays. Okay, I got to quit that. Paul, Paranormal Paul is on, of course, 7 p.m. Central on Saturday. So 7 p.m. Paul. 8:30 Donny Cho, and then BMR's at 10. Don't forget.
Yep. That's right.
Yep.
Be there, be square.
That's right. 3 shows all in one day. There you go.
Saturday's the day. That's the big day. Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk to everybody later and see you next time.
All right. I'll press the button.
You got it, Donnie. You got it.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.